If you've been struggling with high blood pressure despite following your doctor's advice about salt restriction and medications, this video will completely change your understanding of hypertension. I'm going to reveal the hidden metabolic connection that's likely the real cause of your high blood pressure, something most doctors never address. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why traditional approaches often fail and what you need to do instead to finally get your blood pressure under control. Before we dive deeper though, I've created a resource for you called Understanding Hypertension that expands further on what I'll cover with you here today. Click the link in the description to download it now. This guide has helped hundreds of my patients begin to normalize their blood pressure naturally. I am Dr. Nick, a mechanical engineering graduate turned medical doctor. I spent the last 15 years analyzing the data on hypertension and metabolic health, and I've helped hundreds of patients normalize their blood pressure by addressing the root cause. One patient came to me on 3 different blood pressure medications with pressure readings still elevated at 150/95 millimeters of mercury. Within just 8 weeks of addressing his underlying metabolic dysfunction, his numbers normalized to 118/76 millimeters of mercury. And we were able to discontinue 2 of his medications before discontinuing the 3rd a month later. This isn't unusual. It's what happens when you fix the actual problem instead of just treating symptoms. Here's exactly what I'm going to cover today. First, I'll explain the surprising connection between metabolic dysfunction and high blood pressure that 90% of doctors miss. Second, I'll break down the 3 specific mechanisms that link metabolic health to your blood pressure readings. Third, I'll give you my top 5 science-backed strategies to address the root cause and potentially normalize your blood pressure naturally. If you're tired of taking medications that don't solve the problem, or if you have a family history of it and you simply want to prevent hypertension before it starts, this information could be life-changing. Let's start with a shocking statistic that your doctor probably has never mentioned. Almost 90% of adults with hypertension have underlying metabolic dysfunction. This is not just a coincidence. It's a direct cause and effect relationship. When most people get diagnosed with high blood pressure, their doctor typically focus on salt restriction, weight loss, and medications. But here's what they're missing. For the vast majority of people, high blood pressure is actually a symptom of poor metabolic health. Think of your blood pressure like a warning light on your car's dashboard. The light itself isn't the problem. It's warning you about an engine issue. In similar fashion, high blood pressure is your body's warning sign of underlying metabolic dysfunction. This explains why traditional approaches often fail. When you only address the symptom, high blood pressure, without fixing the underlying cause, metabolic dysfunction, you're fighting an uphill battle against your biology that you simply cannot win long term. If you're finding this information valuable so far, make sure to download my free Understanding Hypertension resource available in the description below. It contains step-by-step recommendations to start addressing these exact issues we are discussing. The link is in the description below. Now, let's get into the fascinating science of exactly how metabolic dysfunction causes your blood pressure to rise. There are 3 distinct mechanisms at work here, and understanding them will completely change how you approach your health. Mechanism number 1, salt and water retention. When you are impacted by metabolic dysfunction, your body produces excess insulin. This excess insulin signals your kidneys to hold on to sodium instead of excreting it. And where sodium goes, water flows, increasing your blood volume and raising pressure in your arteries. This explains why some people are salt sensitive while others are not. Studies show that people with healthy metabolisms can consume varying amounts of salt with minimal effect on blood pressure. But those with metabolic dysfunction see significant blood pressure spikes with salt intake. What's even more interesting is that extreme salt restriction can actually make things worse by triggering even higher insulin levels as your body tries to conserve sodium. It's a vicious cycle that medications do not address. Mechanism number 2, blood vessel stiffness. Your blood vessels should be flexible and able to dilate when needed. But metabolic dysfunction compromises this ability in 2 critical ways. First, chronically elevated insulin causes the walls of your blood vessels to thicken over time, narrowing the passage for blood flow. Think about what happens when you partially cover the opening of a garden hose with your thumb. The pressure increases dramatically. Second, healthy blood vessels produce a molecule called nitric oxide, which helps them relax and dilate. But metabolic dysfunction impairs nitric oxide production, keeping your vessels constricted and your blood pressure elevated. This is why medications like nitroglycerin work for heart attacks. They convert to nitric oxide and help dilate blood vessels. Now, having non-restricted, well-dilated blood vessels would be great for addressing high blood pressure, but wouldn't it be better to fix the underlying problem rather than relying on medications endlessly? Mechanism number 3, nervous system activation. The third mechanism involves your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Metabolic dysfunction chronically activates this system, causing increased heart rate, stronger heart contractions, narrowed blood vessels. All 3 of these factors drive up your blood pressure. This is why people with metabolic dysfunction often feel anxious or overheated after high carbohydrate meals. Their sympathetic nervous system is being activated. Understanding these 3 mechanisms explains why traditional approaches to hypertension often fail. They're treating the symptom, not the cause. Now that you understand the real cause of hypertension, let's talk about solutions. Here are my top 5 non-personalized, evidence-based strategies to address metabolic dysfunction and potentially normalize your blood pressure. Strategy number 1, prioritize metabolic health through nutrition. The most powerful intervention for improving metabolic health is changing what you eat. Research shows that reducing refined carbohydrates has a more significant impact on blood pressure than salt restriction. In one study, participants following a low-carbohydrate approach saw blood pressure reductions 4 times greater than those on a low-fat diet. This makes perfect sense, given what we know about the metabolic hypertension connection. Focus on protein-rich foods like eggs, fish, and poultry, non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats from avocados, olive oil, and nuts, and lastly, moderate amounts of whole food-based carbohydrates based on your activity level. This approach naturally improves metabolic health while providing the potassium, magnesium, and fiber that support healthy blood pressure. Strategy number 2, strategic movement. Exercise is powerful medicine for metabolic health and blood pressure. Research shows that regular physical activity can lower blood pressure as effectively as many medications. But not all exercise is created equal when it comes to metabolic health. The most effective approach combines resistance training 2 to 3 times per week to build muscle and improve insulin sensitivity, zone 2 cardio for 30 to 60 minutes several times weekly, brief high-intensity intervals once or twice weekly to improve metabolic flexibility. This combination addresses multiple aspects of metabolic health while directly improving cardiovascular function. And you don't need fancy equipment or a gym membership. Body weight exercises and walking can be incredibly effective. Strategy number 3, optimize sleep quality. Poor sleep is a major driver of metabolic dysfunction and hypertension that most doctors never discuss. Just one night of disrupted sleep can temporarily raise blood pressure, while chronic sleep issues can lead to persistent hypertension. With that in mind, aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep by maintaining consistent sleep and wake times, keeping your bedroom cool and dark, limiting screen time before bed, avoiding caffeine after noon on any given day, and using stress management techniques before bedtime. Improving sleep quality can have a rapid and significant impact on both metabolic health and blood pressure. Many of my patients see improvements within days of optimizing their sleep environment. Strategy number 4, manage stress strategically. Chronic stress directly raises blood pressure through the sympathetic nervous system we discussed earlier. It also worsens metabolic health by increasing cortisol, which raises blood sugar and promotes fat storage around the abdomen. Effective stress management techniques include daily mindfulness or meditation practice, regular time in nature, strategic use of both heat exposure, like sauna sessions, and cold exposure, like cold showers, and lastly, breathwork techniques. Research shows that regular sauna use can reduce stress hormones by 30% after just 4 sessions, with corresponding improvements in blood pressure. These aren't luxury practices, they're medicine for your metabolic health. Strategy number 5. Consider targeted supplementation. While nutrition and lifestyle should be your absolute bedrock foundation, certain supplements can support metabolic health and healthy blood pressure. Magnesium improves insulin sensitivity and promotes blood vessel relaxation. Berberine supports metabolic health through multiple mechanisms. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation and improve vascular function. Vitamin D is critical for metabolic health, and many are often deficient in it. And CoQ10 supports cellular energy production and vascular health. Always consult with a healthcare provider knowledgeable about metabolic health before starting any supplement regimen. The right supplements can be powerful tools, but they can't replace the fundamental lifestyle factors we've discussed. If you're struggling with high blood pressure, you now understand that addressing the underlying metabolic dysfunction is the key to lasting improvement. Traditional approaches that focus only on symptoms often fail because they don't fix the root cause. This is exactly what we address in the Metabolic Medic Method program. We use advanced metabolic testing to identify your unique metabolic profile and then create a holistic, personalized plan from it that addresses all 4 pillars of metabolic health: nutrition, movement, recovery, and stress management. Many of my clients have been able to reduce or eliminate their blood pressure medications within weeks of starting the program, all while improving their overall health and energy levels. If you're ready to take control of your metabolic health and address the root cause of your hypertension instead of endlessly masking the signs and symptoms of it, click the first link in the description to schedule a free consultation call. During this call, we'll discuss your specific situation and determine if the Metabolic Medic Method is right for you. Also, don't forget to download your free Understanding Hypertension guide, because it is the perfect way to start implementing what you've learned today. Don't settle for managing symptoms when you can fix the underlying cause. Your future self will thank you.